She said, "You need to turn down that promotion. I'm not moving to Silicon Valley for your career." I replied, "I'd never force you to move." Then I accepted the job. She found out how serious I was when the packers showed up for my things only. I, 29, male, just made what's either the best or worst decision of my life. I'm sitting here now, in an apartment half filled with boxes, in the quiet hum before everything changes. 3 weeks ago, I got the call that every software engineer dreams about. Senior systems architect at Nimbus Technologies, one of the fastest growing companies in the Valley. A base salary that nearly tripled what I was earning, stock options that could pay for a house, and projects that would put my name in the right rooms. It was everything I'd been working toward for years through the endless nights of debugging, the certifications, the unpaid side gigs. Every sacrifice was supposed to lead here. When I told Clara, my girlfriend of 4 years, I expected a spark of pride, maybe a hug, maybe finally we made it. Instead, she barely looked up from her tablet. "That's nice, babe," she said flatly. "When are you turning it down?" At first, I thought she was teasing. I laughed. She didn't. She asked it again slowly, this time like she was explaining something to a child. "You're not seriously thinking about leaving, right?" It felt like the air was pulled from the room. "It's not forever," I told her. "We can visit. It's just a 2-hour flight. You could even start something new. Didn't you always talk about launching your own wellness brand?" Her lips tightened. "My family's here, my friends, my work. Everything I love is here." Her work was a part-time gig running social media for a local boutique, making maybe 25 grand a year. I'd never judged that it wasn't about money, but hearing her say money isn't everything while wearing designer sneakers I'd bought last Christmas hit differently. We argued for hours that night. I offered every compromise imaginable. I'd move first, she could follow later. We'd keep our apartment as a backup. She could fly out once a month. I'd cover the costs. Each suggestion was met with another no. Finally, she delivered her verdict like a judge pronouncing a sentence. "If you loved me, you'd turn it down." Something in me cracked, not anger, not sadness, just a quiet realization. For 4 years, every major decision had gone her way. Where we lived, what car I drove, how I dressed, how often we saw her family. I had called it compromise, but it wasn't. It was surrender, disguised as love. That night, I didn't argue. I just said, "I'd never force you to move." She smiled, thinking she'd won, kissed me on the cheek, and whispered, "Good. Email them tomorrow." The next morning, I emailed them accepting the offer. Was it cowardly not to tell her right away? Maybe. But I knew what the next 3 weeks would look like if I did. Guilt, arguments, tears, and emotional warfare until I broke. So instead, I began preparing in silence. I opened a new bank account, packed slowly, one drawer at a time. The company was handling my relocation movers, temporary housing, even a rental car waiting in San Jose. All I had to do was be ready. Yesterday was moving day. Clara was at her usual Tuesday spa session with her sister. Routine, predictable, safe. The movers arrived while I sat in a coffee shop a few blocks away, watching the live map updates as they boxed up my life. I'd marked what was mine: my computer setup, my clothes, my books, the small desk I built from scratch. Everything else, furniture, TV, decorations we'd bought together. And I left them all. Before leaving, I placed a letter on the kitchen counter with my apartment key taped to it. The letter was short. I thanked her for the years we shared, explained my decision, and enclosed a check for 2 months' rent. No drama, no blame, just closure on paper. At 2 p.m., my phone started buzzing. What's happening? There are movers here. Where are you? This isn't funny. Are you serious right now? I stared at the screen until it stopped vibrating. Then I sent one text. I told you I'd never force you to move. The apartment's paid through October. Take care. Then I blocked her number. Now, as I sit among the boxes in my temporary corporate apartment overlooking the Santa Cruz Mountains, I can't tell if I've just lost everything or finally gained it back. My mother thinks I'm reckless. My best friend says I'm a legend. My sister told me it's about damn time. Maybe they're all right. Maybe none of them are. But for the first time in years, the air feels lighter. The first few days in California were surreal. My new apartments, more modern, with a view of the mountains, felt like stepping into a future I had only dared to imagine. My team at Nimbus Technologies was brilliant, the office alive with energy, innovation buzzing from every corner. Lunch on day one with my manager revealed a clear growth path within 3 to 5 years. I could be a principal architect, leading projects I'd only dreamed of. Free meals, a gym, flexible hours, the perks were great. But it was the challenge and recognition that made my chest swell. Meanwhile, the fallout from leaving Clara was explosive. Day one, my mum called, panicked. "Ethan, she says you abandoned her. How could you?" I explained the job. I explained the plan. She cried. She pleaded. She begged me to reconsider. I didn't. I couldn't. She demanded I choose between a salary and my future, and I chose me. Clara had left her mark everywhere. She went to my mum's house, sobbing for 3 hours, recounting how I'd destroyed her life, conveniently omitted the 2 months' rent, the movers, the careful separation of our things. By day 2, my best friend Jake was calling non-stop. "Dude, she's telling everyone you cleaned out the apartment, took all her stuff, even her grandma's china. Be careful." I laughed at the absurdity. I had photos, receipts, every single item I'd packed was mine. I didn't engage further. I let her narrative unfold while I focused on my new life. Then came the texts from unknown numbers, the Instagram stories, the DMS from people I barely knew. She had spun a story about financial abandonment and emotional cruelty, painting herself as a victim of some tech bro conspiracy. Friends, family, co-workers, everyone seemed to have received her carefully curated version of events. She had even convinced my ex, Sarah, to reach out with thinly veiled judgment. For a moment, I was irritated, but then I realized I wasn't just leaving Clara, I was stepping out of an entire web of people who thrived on drama and control. I blocked Sarah, blocked her father Robert's emails, and told Jake to stop reporting updates unless legal action was required. Then I went hiking in the mountains. No phone, no messages, just the wind and the trails. For the first time in years, I felt the freedom of making a choice for myself, unmanipulated and unjudged. By the end of the first week, reality was settling in. The job was everything I'd hoped for and more. The team, the projects, the growth, opportunities, it was intoxicating. My temporary apartment felt more like home with every unpacked box. I was waking up energized, excited for the day. And Clara, according to Jake, she was unraveling faster than anyone could keep track of. GoFundMe scams, social media rants, calling my friends to vilify me. She was desperate, but I no longer cared. Her entitlement was staggering. She had believed she deserved compensation simply because she'd issued ultimatums, controlled decisions, and blocked me from pursuing my career. She expected me to pay for emotional damage she had created herself. The audacity was almost admirable if it weren't so infuriating. Meanwhile, I was thriving. Stock options, vesting, apartments with views, invitations to tech conferences, even the spark of new social connections. Every day, I reminded myself, the right people support your growth. They don't demand you to choose between love and life, and the wrong ones. You leave them behind. A week into my new life, Clara flew out to California. She somehow found my apartment, dressed like she was on a date for a high-end club, hair done, makeup sharp, shoes clicking across the concrete garage. "We need to talk," she said. I wanted to walk away, but agreed to a public coffee shop witnesses if she escalated. Her attempt at reconciliation was theatrical. She cycled through anger, guilt, bargaining, and victimhood. "You can't just throw away for years," she said. I reminded her she had left me with an ultimatum. I hadn't thrown anything away, had chosen myself. Then came the audacity. "You owe me $50,000. I laughed aloud. Emotional damages, lost opportunities. I'd rebuilt my life while she played the victim. I was firm, no. And just like that, she stormed out, muttering threats of regret. 2 weeks later, the fallout continued in absurd ways. GoFundMe, fraud, HR, cease and desist letters, boutique job termination, social media rants. Her father even sent one last legal threat, which my company's legal team expertly dismissed. Meanwhile, I found an amazing permanent apartment with a view of the bay, began dating someone from my team, and finally felt happy and in control. Through it all, the lesson crystallized. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. When they issue ultimatums, call their bluff. When they try to control your future, choose yourself. Clara had framed love as control, but my life now, it was freedom. My choice, my career, my happiness. This is the story of how I left the Midwest behind, walked away from a controlling relationship, and reclaimed my future in Silicon Valley. It wasn't easy, but it was worth every anxious, adrenaline-filled moment. By the 3rd week, my life had settled into a rhythm I hadn't known I could feel. The apartment overlooking the bay became more than just a place to sleep, was a sanctuary, a reminder of every decision I had fought to make for myself. Work at Nimbus Technologies consumed me in the best way possible. Innovative projects, supportive colleagues, and mentorship that challenged me to grow faster than I ever imagined. I was learning more in 3 weeks than I had in the previous 3 years at my old job. The career I had dreamed about was finally real, tangible, and thrilling. Clara's attempts to manipulate didn't stop immediately. She showed up again, this time trying to use mutual friends and family as leverage. Her GoFundMe failed, her social media campaigns blew up in her face, and the boutique fired her for repeated absences. Every time she tried, I stayed calm. Legal precautions were in place, boundaries firm. I wasn't reacting. I was observing, documenting, and continuing to live my life. Her entitlement, once so terrifying, now seemed almost cartoonish. The person I thought I loved had been replaced by someone I didn't recognize, a stranger obsessed with controlling and rewriting reality to her favor. Meanwhile, my personal life was blooming. I began dating Leela, a software engineer from my team, and we were transparent with HR. No drama, just mutual understanding. I explored the city, hiked the mountains, discovered coffee shops and beaches I'd only seen in photos. I attended tech meets, presentations, and even got invited to speak at a conference about system architecture. Opportunities that would have been impossible if I had stayed trapped in a small town, trying to appease someone else's whims. Every day I realized how much my own potential had been stifled before. Even my family came around. My mum, initially horrified at my abandonment of Clara, called one evening, voice trembling, "Ethan, I get it now. I see what she put you through. I'm sorry." I accepted her apology, grateful that at least one person in the middle of the chaos understood the truth. Clara herself tried one last manipulation, asking for access to my new place to collect belongings. I gave her $20 for gas and told her to disappear from my life. That was it. No lingering bitterness, no debate, just closure. The lessons were stark. A partner who loves you doesn't issue ultimatums. They support your growth, celebrate your wins, and work with you, not against you. Ultimatums are about control, not love. Entitlement disguised as victimhood is toxic, and ignoring it for years only amplifies the damage. I had finally learned to recognize it, confront it silently, and move forward without guilt. Now, sitting in my San Francisco apartment, stock options vesting, first paycheck deposited, watching the sunset over the Golden Gate, I feel more alive than ever. The fear I had before leaving was real, but it was dwarfed by the excitement of finally taking ownership of my own life. Clara's manipulations, her ultimatums, the drama with friends and family, all pales in comparison to this newfound freedom. I chose myself. I chose my career. I chose a future full of opportunity, growth, and genuine relationships. And in doing so, I finally learned the most valuable lesson. When someone tries to control your life, the hardest, most rewarding thing you can do is walk away and never look back. Because the right life isn't given to you by anyone else. You claim it. You build it. You live it, and that's exactly what I'm doing.